Perfect. Good morning and welcome to another Friday morning safety meeting. Today's code item of the week is promote the code. Ben Dow, do you have anything to add?
Supporting and actively encouraging our standards is what this one means to me, and it contributes and helps us to maintain the health of our culture. So it's a good one. I like the way it looks in the new script that you're using. And that's, I guess it's going to be on our new hard hats.
That's the plan.
That's cool.
Good.
We have 7 days without a recordable, 9 days without a first aid injury. Sorry, that should be backwards. Please go above and beyond securing jobs sites for the long weekend. We have a lot of break-ins over holiday weekends, so just make sure you're backing equipment up to job trailers and doing everything you can to make sure everything's secure and we're not chasing stuff down on Monday or Tuesday.
Yep.
Safety shout out. This is Mike Wright and crew. They built a very nice set of stairs to their reclaimer in Exeter. They had kind of a sketchy situation to get up and down. They realized that and they built a nice set of stairs so that way nobody would trip and fall. And have a reflective and meaningful Memorial Day. Pictured here is Sergeant Kevin Sheehan, who worked at ECI and he was in the Vermont Army National Guard. I don't know if you guys have anything to add, Dad or Ben.
Well, we got a little part on the email of the week we'll cover with him, but he was killed in action in 2004. So we're going on 20 years since Kevin was, we lost Kevin in Iraq.
Yeah. They had a thing over at Camp Johnson. I think it was yesterday, and it was on the news, and I saw Kevin's wife at the ceremony. Mm-hmm. So it's cool. Yep. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about equal employment opportunity. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Anybody know when it was formed? No.
No.
A month after ECI was formed. So ECI was born in June of 1965. And the EEOC Commission was formed by Congress in July of 1965. So going on 59 years ago. It was formed to administer and enforce civil rights against the laws of discrimination in the workplace that were formed by the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So the 60s was a really big time in our country for establishing civil rights. The basic definition of it, of the EEO, is the idea that everyone's treated fairly when they're considered for different jobs, different terminations, promotions, compensation, and we look at their qualifications versus, the color of their skin or their beliefs. Next slide. ECI is committed to fostering and cultivating and preserving a culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And just like we do many different types of work, we're multidisciplined. We're also have many different types of people that make up our team. And I think that the differences in the people that we have gives us our strength, especially when we work as a team. Our code of conduct and our standards, they, just like we were just talking about promoting and keeping our code and our standards alive, they also provide an atmosphere that's professional and it's free from harassment. And it's also intended to be equitable to different people and beliefs. So I already told you the answer, but some of the questions that we ask here are going to be asked of us, especially on all of our state jobs that we have. They have federal funds in them. We sign up and we have an EEO program because we believe in it, but also it's a requirement that we support and maintain this program. And it's also a requirement that all of you that work here know about it. And we are audited by the civil rights people in the state of Vermont, and they'll come to our job and they'll ask that one of these questions is going to be to any of our employees, is ECI an equal opportunity employer? So what is the answer, Ed? I see you up there. I just gave it to you. Yes. So in our handbook, equal opportunity employment section, ECI is an equal opportunity employer. We will extend equal opportunity to all individuals without regard to race, color, religion, sex, pregnancy-related condition, gender identity, sexual orientation, national origin, citizenship, ancestry, place of birth, disability, age, genetic information, health coverage status, HIV status, military or veteran status, crime or victim status, or any other status protected under the applicable state laws or federal laws. So the reason I wanted to say all those things is because that gives you the essence of what we're talking about here. They keep adding every year, it seems, another item. But it's a lot of them, and it's basically almost anything that you can think of that you could discriminate against related to that type of stuff. And we promise and we sign up for this, and we actually sign documents on our contracts to say that we will make sure that we uphold and train you guys and follow the standard. So in the handbook, there are different sections. There's a section on page 7 for the EEO. There's also discussion about diversity, equity, inclusion on that page. And on page 10, we actually talk about the non-discrimination and harassment prevention in the company. So do we have a written policy? Yes, we do. We have a written policy and it's up to date. It's available for everyone, either Gina or myself and others that have access to it readily can get it to you. I have a hard copy in my office, and it's up to date. That's what it looks like. I won't go into all the details in it, but if anybody that would like to view it, it's 5 pages, and it's available to anyone, and it just further discusses all the stuff that we just talked about. All right. We're also required to have an EEO officer. Scott Pidgeon was the EEO officer for many years, and then he turned it over to me years back. And so I am the EEO officer, and I have certain responsibilities, and it's for effectively administrating and promoting an active EEO program and ensuring that our policies and procedures are disseminated by inclusion in written materials, postings in the public areas, and that we do have periodic meetings and trainings. I'm responsible to handle any complaints related to this policy, and also any issues regarding the laws and the regulations that come up. It also provides reasonable accommodations for employees that have disabilities, and we have a reasonable accommodation procedure to handle requests. Somebody needs something special for their job, like a grab handle on a truck to get in and out, or a special chair. I think we've gotten desks that rise up, and so that people can stand when they have some back issues. So we extend it maybe even a little bit further beyond what the actual requirements are, but we want our employees to be also healthy and able to do their jobs without distractions from simple things that could help accommodate a disability or a condition. Our policy discrimination complaint procedure and the required federal or state posters are on bulletin boards, and they're posted at our home office on the safety boards. You'll also see them on the poster boards on the state jobs that are posted at the job sites and the trailers. And the civil rights group is always looking to make sure that we have the right stuff posted on those poster boards, because probably a lot of you have been involved in that process trying to get a job started. And you're like, we got to get the poster board up because we're not in compliance. And that's like one of the initial things that everybody gets very concerned about, that we have that poster board up. But part of that is to post the EEO information. And that's kind of what it looks like. I think that's the most recent one, Matt, which it is. Yeah, know your rights. So feel free to read it. It tells all about the program. And it's on all our posting down here at 98 that's going out the back door past Scott Burns' office. And I believe this is also posted up in the health and safety, Matt.
Yep.
And it's also these are also posted on every job site that has a poster board, and that should be every state project that we have. So the requirements for compliance is that all of our employees are made aware of this program, which is one of the intents of doing this every year. That we investigate all discrimination and complaints promptly and thoroughly, and we have done that. Health and safety has helped me in the past. We now have Gina, who's helped me one or two, and we also have used consultants in the past. And it is a big deal for us to make sure that everyone's getting treated properly. Any meetings that we have, we document. As we document any issue that we have that comes up, we review the program with supervisors, and I think, Matt, you have a part of the orientation that talks about this. Sometimes it's hard for people to retain all the stuff that we do in orientation, but we do talk about it in orientation as we're required to do. And every year, which has come up again right now, we are to review it with everyone in the company, and then we have to keep track of who and when. And that's one of the important things about how we track everyone that's on this meeting, is because this is one of those trainings that we have to reproduce a list every several years. The state of Vermont Civil Rights group will ask us, please let us know, give us the roster of your training, your most recent EEO training, and hopefully it's within a year. And so we have to reproduce the actual list of all the employees that were trained, and we have to give them evidence that we talked about this. So that's actually a requirement, one of the many requirements that we do, and that's why we're a lot of times asking for, who's at the meeting. It's for things like this. It's a compliance thing. It's a compliance, and we want to comply with it, but also we believe in it, and we want to treat people equally. So I don't know if you have anything to add on that, Ken, but we want to follow this program. We want to treat people equally.
Yes, I agree. And if one more question for everybody, okay, have you been trained or have you been informed of the EEO policy, and what's the answer?
Yes.
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 They
All
will
right.
be out there on your job, and this is going to be funny. So usually if you just answer yes.
Yeah.
Probably be
They're not trying to trick you.
No.
Yeah.
They're always very disappointed when someone says no.
Right.
We had a case where it happened and someone said no, and then they got all concerned. And then when we talked again, the person said, oh, that stuff. Yeah, we got trained about that.
Right. Okay, I'll take over the screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep, we do.
All right. Okay, so for announcements, we are at Memorial Day weekend here. So Monday is Memorial Day and we are closed. Time records to be submitted by 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning at the latest. And that allows for everybody to review, because just submitting your time is just the start of that process. Secure your job sites for the long weekend to prevent the theft, vandalisms, and hazards to the public. And here's one that we want to stress this week: remove keys from all equipment, because we had an incident this past week where there was a stolen log truck, a heavy truck, high rail log truck. So the last thing you'd expect to see stolen, and still was stolen. So be cautious there. For next week's payroll, please remember to put in, this is next week, not this coming week, the 8 hours of holiday time. So I'll leave this in for next week, because really, of course, the best way to do this when you do your time is to do it at the end of every day. So really on Monday or maybe Tuesday morning, when you submit all your other time records, you should take care of the Monday holiday and use that with a job 14, cost code OH14, and earn code HOL.
Hey, Ken, that's awesome. You know what that means?
What's that?
We get paid. We get paid to stay home.
Yeah. Yeah, you get paid to get your time records in on time. Okay, Morgan Stanley Financial Advisors will be at ECI on June 7th. So that's pretty much what we do. If you haven't noticed, it's the first Friday of every month. So sign up if you're in need of some education / consulting. They don't like to call it consulting because they want to help you make the decision. They're not advising you in that way. So everybody, as long as you've been here for just a few months now, whatever the requirements are a member of our 401k plan. So it affects pretty much everybody, with the exception of the more recent hires. Also, I have the please join us on the social media invite here for Facebook and Instagram. And we're continuing our 2024 holiday healthcare premium holiday. And of course, Memorial Day 2024 makes us remember our most revered hero. That would be Kevin Sheehan, who was killed in action almost 20 years ago. 20 years ago tomorrow. It's pretty amazing how time flies. That was back on May 25th in 2004. And certainly leaves a hole in our hearts to think about him not being here. It's Kevin. It's hard to imagine. Like I said, he was killed in Iraq. We miss you, Kevin. We are forever grateful for your ultimate sacrifice and others who have made the same, and to maintain our freedom. And I attached a copy of Kevin's obituary if anyone's interested.
I run into his wife once in a while, Ken, every so often. And the kids are all grown up and everything's going well. Nathaniel looks just like Kevin. It's
good.
eerie.
Good.
I still remember I was coming in. Yeah,
I know. I'm disappointed I haven't seen him as an employee yet.
No, I was coming in the door by Ronnie's office right there, and Jim's office, when you gave me the call. It's funny how when things happen in your life, there's certain things that you remember where you were, and you called me on one of those. I had one of those flip phones, and I remember opening it up and standing in the door and with the door open. It doesn't seem like 20 years ago.
Right. Well, we have some great news here. Both Christy and Cody Marsh helped us bring us back to a happier thing.
Nice.
And they have a new baby daughter, Gabriella Lynn, and she's here with Big Brother William. Such an exciting time. Congratulations to these guys. I have a link to the primary care wellness program, and this week's project of the week is the Velco Middlebury Substation Improvements. And Ed, you're going to present, right?
I will present if you want to drive, Ken.
I'll drive. Sure. Let me just move the screen up a little further so you can start reading. Go ahead.
Perfect. All right. So ECI is contracted with Velco to provide improvements to the Velco Middlebury substation down in Middlebury. We're supposed to be complete in December 2024, which looks like that may happen, but we'll probably have to go back in the spring to do some temporary yard removal. But the project encompasses about 2.2 acres of farm field, and which also includes the existing substation. It includes expansions to the existing substation, including a new control building, oil containment system, upgrades to on-site drainage systems, modifications to the access drive, and construction of a new municipal water service connection, and as well as an on-site mound sewer system. We also built a temporary substation with an access road, which was constructed on the south end of the existing substation. So the breakdown of the scope of work, we moved in right around 1st November of 23. Built a new temporary substation pad, an access road and staging areas. We had to reconstruct a drainage ditch around the existing substation, relocated a stream that went under the existing substation, so it would no longer do that. We had a bunch of contaminated soil to remove and hauled to Coventry. And then we're actually we had to do a bunch of demo in the existing yard of existing foundations, as well as cut the existing yard down like essentially 3 feet to run all new conduit, precast cable trench. And then we also, part of the project is with the expansion, new chain link fence around the entire site, which was going to be done by Perimeter Solutions, which is actually scheduled for July. So included, there's like 15,000 feet of conduit and 10,000 feet of grounding wire, which is being installed by Reset Electric, which in the past, ECI used to perform that work themselves, but at some point in time, Velco decided that they wanted to have a licensed electrician do all of that work. So I think maybe this is one of the first projects that ECI has completed using a licensed electrician to do that kind of work. We also built a new control building, which we'll go over that next week because that was a pretty big part of the project. So now we're actually in the process of pouring some new foundations in the yard, in the existing yard, as well as the expanded yard. And those are being poured in, obviously by our concrete crews. And those are set up for all the above grade work, which is completed by Velco for all of their new equipment. There's 11 new ones, about 50 cubic yards, and then there's 10 existing foundations that had to be removed. We installed this oil containment system, which essentially is a system that is placed around their transformer at grade and below grade. In case the transformer fails or they have an oil leak on the transformer. And so the system is it's pretty straightforward. It's just like one sump structure that separates, because this system also includes rainwater that falls into the containment because it is open to the air. So the sump system actually separates any of the oil from the water, and then once it runs through that filter system, it actually goes to containment tanks that get pumped out, but those are in the photos. So we went through this a little bit, but we started with grubbing and clearing. Then we built the laydown areas on the north side of the existing sub for storage and the office trailer. Then we built the access road, the temporary access road to the south side of the existing sub, which took about 2,000 yards of gravel, which all needs to come out when the project is done. Once that was built, we built the temporary sub yard. That was another 2,500 yards of gravel. And then Velco started constructing their equipment in the temp yard. In the meantime, we moved back to the north side of the sub station and began working on the containment catchment system, control building, fence line, stormwater, pipe relocation, and the water system, wastewater system, and conduit runs. Once the temp yard was up and running, so we were doing all this work and Velco was working in the temporary yard. Once that was up and going and commissioned, the existing sub was de-energized, and that's when we began working inside of the existing substation and removing the foundations and digging it out to grounding grade, which basically there's just this big copper wire that's laid in a grid fashion. So it's the grounding grid for the entire substation. Removed all the contaminated soil, and then we had to excavate and pour new foundations, dig in the conduits, remove the existing fence. So yeah, and in December of 23, Middlebury, and there was probably it was bigger than just Middlebury, but there was a lot of parts of the state that didn't get what Middlebury got, and so they had a major rain event, and it resulted in some damage to our work that we had completed, including like a 36-inch drain line floating, and you'll see photos of it in the photos. Also moving several of our sonotubes that you have to put in place. Their fencing detail at Velco and at GMP is pretty extensive. So it created a lot of, or it created some work for us in the end. But here's a photo of the bottom of the photo is actually the temporary access road, and in the background is where we're actually building the temporary substation yard. Again, this was happening in November, so you can see we're in the just starting to come into what we did have for winter, which wasn't big or bad. So that was conducive to us working all winter, which was good. Here's the temporary yard, temporary fence posts in, and so we're in the process here. Here we are, up next to the temporary yard, probably putting in a temporary pole, or helping GMP set a temporary pole there.
Nope.
So this is a photo of the damage created by the extreme rainfall back in December. So you can see those PVC pipes, vertical PVC pipes. Those are actually the sonotubes for the new chain link fence posts. And there's our 36-inch HDPE storm drain line. Obviously completely disjointed. And so yeah, this was a major rain event. And our guys, like, we had to go back to the site, and we had already like left, and so our guys went back, did what they could, but there wasn't a lot we could do. But yeah, so you can see this actual 36 inch is catching a stream that was originally, well, it's an intermittent stream. It's really runoff, but on heavy rain days, the whole thing flows under the existing station. So part of our contract is to relocate that stream. So we were in the middle of that when we got this rainstorm. So,
Was it a little undersized?
the existing was a little undersized, and when we were putting this in, the existing stream was actually still in function. And the existing culvert running under the substation was undersized, and it wouldn't take it. And it flowed overground through the substation, and then it actually found its way to where we were working. So it was a mess.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And,
It's a cool picture.
yeah, isn't it? That's a photo from the uphill side of the head wall, the precast head wall we installed, looking down the 36 inch. I'm assuming this is after we rebuilt it. Here's a portion of the part of the containment system. We installed 2 large precast vaults that actually are storage vaults that get pumped out as part of maintenance in the future, which Belco takes care of. But yeah, these were major precast structures, as you can see. We had the mag there, setting them in place. They were approximately 16 feet deep. So yeah, and there's 2 of them. One, they go end to end, and then the oil containment sump structure, which separates the petroleum from the water, flows into these, and there's a photo of that as we move forward.
This is some of the testing, I guess.
Yeah, that is
One
what it
there.
is. Yep. This is the actual sump structure itself, which is actually gets a like it's called a petrol plug kind of, but it's bigger, and it actually sets in this system, in this precast structure, and acts as the filter. But this is when we were water testing it, once we had it in place. It's a 4x4 precast structure, about 12 feet deep. Here's the containment structures in place, backfilled with the protective bollards around them. Looks like a nice job right there, which, by the way, Jerry Lafreniere and his crew have done an excellent job as the project's moving forward.
Looks good.
And here's a photo of the existing substation after the this is actually earlier this spring, once we were able to get in there. And you can see all of the existing conduits, fiber conduits, power conduits that we have to work around, existing structures. It's very congested in there with underground and overhead. Fortunately, it's all de-energized because of the temporary system that they have in place. So it's slow, meticulous work, trying not to damage, obviously, anything, or keeping everybody safe. So it's pretty intense once they get in there and start working around, and spotters are critical. So our guys are, I know Jerry, and there's several employees here that have quite a bit of experience working in the substation, but Jerry and his crew has done really a tremendous job of really not damaging anything. And there's, as normal, there's a lot of stuff that in the ground that they're not sure is there until you find it. So excavation is slow, but it's going well.
It,
These are a couple of foundation excavations that the concrete crew is coming in to pour footers and piers, but you can see where we've prepared them in the existing substation. And you can see the new control building in the top right that we'll talk about next week.
all right.
Yep. And here's one of the pier footers after the boys had poured. This was early spring.
I guess that's it.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you, Ed. And for a photo archive, this is the reactive power synchronous condenser unit number 1. That's at the Williamstown substation, the Granite substation in Williamstown. So that's essentially like a big motor that just kind of creates a lot of rotational inertia that keeps a kind of a steady current and voltage going through the system. So there's 3 of these. They were like 60 tons each or something like that. And we built the what was called the RPD building, the reactive power device building or something like that. And that was at the Williamstown substation. So kind of a couple familiar people there. There's Pat Wells.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mike Colby's on the far left. I forget the names of some of the other guys that were here for quite a while, I think. And next to Pat, of course, I'm in the middle there. And then the guy in a white t-shirt, that's Chris Labonte. He was the project manager on that job. So I think he's down in the Carolinas nowadays. I hear from him occasionally. And I think the other guy is from on the end there, the far right. I think he was the General Electric guy. I'm thinking that was a client. We were working for General Electric, who supplied and installed these units. So pretty cool stuff. Thank you, Ed. Everybody have a good weekend, a safe weekend, and enjoy the long weekend. But remember to kind of continuing to remember our fallen heroes and think about Memorial Day. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the safety department.
Yeah, excellent meeting, team. If you're watching a group setting, please send us attendance so we can capture it. And if you didn't watch it, we are going to hunt you down and we're going to make sure our employees are all trained up on EEO. It's a great day to work safe. Let's have a great day.